Hello. How are you? All right? Just give it a couple of minutes. It's only 1:27. I don't even know what day of the week it is. I think it's Wednesday now, isn't it? Yep, it's Wednesday today. Hello. Just give it a couple more minutes. We're slightly early. I think I logged on at 1:27 today, so we'll just give it another minute or so. See if anybody else joins us. And then we'll get started on another 3 characters. Hello. 1 more minute and we'll get started. It's 1:29. 3 more characters to draw today. We're going to be drawing the police officer from The Simpsons. I'm not entirely sure what his name is. The police officer that's always eating donuts. We are also going to draw Olaf, the snowman from Frozen. And we're drawing a character from Sonic the Hedgehog, the Sonic series. It's a request that came in a while ago. It's a cat. I think her name's called Blaze. She's quite tricky, actually. I think these are probably the 3 most tricky drawings we've done. I've been looking at some of your work and you're really improving. So I thought we'd just try a couple more that are slightly more difficult today and see how that goes. Okay, so we're going to start with the police officer from The Simpsons. So we're going to start with the eyes again, as we always do. So we're going to do almost a full circle on this side here. Neither of these 2 eyes are a full circle because the nose gets in the way. So let's get this nose in anyway. I think the nose, if I remember correctly, is a little bit like the character that we did yesterday, Nelson, if I remember rightly. This time we can see 2 nostrils within the nose, so 2 small sort of semicircles in there, and then a pupil there. Now this second eye comes down and round and out towards the edge of the nose there as well, with a pupil. And then let's draw the smile crease in, so almost level with the pupil, slightly lower than the nose. We're going to draw that little crease in there, and then we're going to join up the top of the jaw in towards that. Now this character's got his mouth closed, so we're just going to do the chin under there, and he's a little bit overweight, so he's got a bit of a pudgy chin. He's got a double chin, and then that just comes around and connects up to the double chin. So the ear, like we've done on most of the Simpsons characters, is slightly higher than the nose, but it's not as high up as the top of the eye, so sort of halfway up. And then we've got this hairstyle. There's not a lot of hair on this character, but it just comes up around the ear, up. So we've got that type of shape. Because on top is a police hat. So we've got the sort of peak that comes around. So we're drawing sort of a flattened rugby ball for that. And then we're just going to block that in completely black. So it's a flat oval shape, like a flat rugby ball, that is wider than his eyes. It comes out wider than both of his eyes, but doesn't stick up much further than the hairline that we drew. So don't make your oval shape too steep on that top pointed or on the top arch. Remember to keep something underneath you if you're using Sharpies. Okay, so on top of that we've got the flat part of the hat. So we've got kind of, it's almost like a band that comes across, but don't go all the way across because we have a badge on the top, or a shield it looks like. And there's a circle in there. So now you can join that line up to that. That connects there. We've got a circle with a line coming through that goes out underneath the badge through to there. So on top of this, it's almost like an umbrella, an upside down umbrella is the way that I see it. So we're drawing those there, and there are 3 peaks, 1, 2, 3 there, and then it finishes. So we've got 1, 2, 3 peaks in the middle, and that's our police hat. So like most of the Simpsons characters that we've done, there is a shirt collar, which we just draw those types of triangular shapes. And he's got a tie on. I'm just going to leave a little piece in there because there's a, looks like a tie clip that's tied that to his shirt, and this tie's black as well. There's a few areas on this that are black, so we'll just fill these in. We've always finished a little bit early on these lessons, so if we run over a little bit today, I don't think it matters too much because I'm not entirely sure any of you are going to be going anywhere. There's nowhere that we can go yet. Are you enjoying having some extra time off school? Give me a thumbs up on the video if you prefer not being at school. I don't know, can you do like a sad face or something if you'd like to go back to school? So we're just filling the tie out. Okay, so definitely because we've now filled in all of this black, I'm going to just be careful as I start on this side. So maybe just give that a second or two just to make sure that it is dry. And if I move the paper, I'm not going to smudge it. We're coming out from where the neck and the shirt meet. We're going to draw this sort of semicircular line, and it comes slightly lower than the tie. And then we've got the top of the shoulder, which we've got on most of the Simpsons characters. We can actually follow that line round, actually, looking at how the cuff of his shirt lies. And then we've got just the hint of his arm coming there. And then we're going to connect this to this, under there, a button on his shirt. And there's another area for a badge, I guess that is. Now, this police officer, we can see the 3 fingers, but he's actually holding a cup. I'm guessing it's a cup of coffee. So we're going to draw a cup in his hand. And then moving to the right side, we've got the police badge, which is the same as the one on his hat. It's this shield with a circle in the middle. And then the other side of his body, which is this rounded shape. And again, we're coming slightly lower than the tie. Let's continue down this left side so we don't risk smudging it. So underneath his arm, on this side, he's got a gun in its holster. You can't see the actual gun, but you can see the shape of the gun in the holster there. And then we've got a belt. Let's get this on first so we can see some handcuffs. So this is where his belt's going to go. And we've got a set of handcuffs that are just dangling from his belt. And we can just draw the other side of that just to make it look a little bit more three-dimensional. And then in the centre, underneath his tie, we've got a belt buckle, which is a rectangular shape. And then we're just going to follow this line round for his belt. So we're not going to draw over the belt buckle or the handcuffs. And we're going to leave the belt slightly narrower than the belt buckle itself. We did that on another character, I remember, a few days ago. And we're just going to fill the belt in itself black. So coming around to the other side of his body, he's got another, I don't know what this is, it's a sort of a pocket. I guess it's something that he keeps, I don't know what a police officer may keep in this little pouch, but he's got a sort of pouch on this side of his body. And then this is belt, so we need to fill that in black again. And then the body comes down and around there. Okay, so the rest of his body sort of comes down and around. We can see that bulge, which then comes down into his leg. And we're almost all the way down the edge of the paper, so we've come quite a long way down. And he's got these short, stubby legs with his shoes on. On this side, we can just see sticking out of the other side of his back, we've got a truncheon in there, or a baton, I think they call them. And we can just see the handle of it. And we're going to colour that in black as well. Okay, so underneath the holster there where the gun is, we're going to just draw this leg in. We're just making sure we're not going too much longer than this one, so that they're roughly the same size. And then we've got this chubby kind of leg with his pointy shoes. I'm going to make this toe come out slightly further because we're going to colour that in anyway. So I just had to make an adjustment there, but not to worry, because we're going to fill this out. And the same with the other shoe. And then I think we're about done. So he looked quite good actually. He was quite a bit of detail in there. It's probably the most tricky Simpsons character I think that we've drawn. Perfect. Okay, on to our second drawing. So we're going to be doing Olaf, the snowman from Frozen. Not quite as tricky as the police officer there. We're going to start with one of Olaf's eyes, so about 3/4 of the way up the page, 5p piece size. And right in the middle we're going to do a pupil. So very similar to The Simpsons, but these eyes don't touch in the middle. So we're just going to leave a little gap in the middle and a slight gap for the nose. Now Olaf has a carrot for his nose, so we're going to do a rounded cornered triangle. And we're just going to put a few details in there to make it look like a carrot, and not forgetting the other pupil. Okay, so about halfway up Olaf's nose we're going to start, and we're going to do a big smile. So this side comes up slightly higher than that side, and we're just going to put those little smile creases above that. So he's got what looks to be one big tooth, and then in the middle of this tooth we're going to come out with a straight line. We're going to join up into this section here, so we're going to curve round, we're coming wider than the tooth, and then we're going back up into that area. Now we're not going to fill out the mouth there, because obviously Olaf's a snowman, he's made of snow, so this would be white within his mouth there. So we're going to leave that as it is. Okay, so we've got one of Olaf's cheeks. So we're drawing that sort of semicircle. It comes out from near the nose, not touching the eyes, and it joins around. And we've got a similar one on this side, but we actually see where this goes. And it comes way down beyond his mouth, which we now have a similar line on this side. And we join up at the bottom there. So he's got this sort of pear shape, but an upside down pear shape for his jaw area. So Olaf's got this flat head at the top. It's a similar shape to the bottom of his head, but we've got a smaller version of it at the top there. And then coming out of Olaf's head, we have 3 sticks. And you can just draw some wiggly lines for those, just add a few details in there. They don't need to be too straight, because obviously sticks aren't really straight unless they've been cut that way. And Olaf has some eyebrows. And we'll colour those in. Perfect. Okay, the rest of it's quite simple now. So his body's made up of 2 big snowballs. The top one here is slightly smaller, so it's a smaller one. And I'm just going to leave a slight gap in there, because that's where one of his arms comes. And again, this is made out of a stick, so we don't need to be perfectly straight. So make your line a little bit wobbly, and he's got a couple of fingers on there. He's got a big stone for a button, or a piece of coal or something like that. So we're just going to fill that in. Make it a funny shape. Doesn't need to be perfect. Good. Okay. So let's draw a foot in under this here to begin with. So underneath his hand that we've already drawn, we're going to have a, let's do it as a circle, and then we're just going to put a line in there, just to show sort of the underside of his foot. And now we're going to connect this up to that there. This is the second part of his body. We've got this bit that comes down to about there, just level with his thumb. And then we've got his other foot that he's sitting on. I'm going to leave the top of it open because he's got a hand resting on there. So we don't want to draw the line and then have the stick or his other hand sitting on top of that too much. So now I can put the other side of the foot in there. We'll draw that in there as well. So just finish the bottom of his body off there. And then we've got 2 stones that we're going to fill in black. That one and that one. And I think if you added maybe a little bit of brown on the hands and the hair, that would look fantastic. And maybe an orange for his carrot, because the rest of it then is obviously white. So there's Olaf. That was quite easy. Okay, so we've got a tricky one now. This is going to be our most difficult drawing, I think, that we've done. So this is Blaze the cat. She's from Sonic, I think, Sonic Adventures, or one of the Sonic games. So she's quite a cool looking cat. Okay, where shall we start? Right then, so right in the middle, we're going to start with this. This is actually her ear, one of her ears. So we're going to have almost looks like a shark fin. And then within that, we're going to draw a rounded edged triangle. So that's right in the middle. From that, we're going to draw a semicircle that comes down and around about that far for now. And then we're going to get her second ear in. So this is sitting behind her head there. And you can't quite see the bottom of that inner ear, the detail there. So we've got the ears on a slant. One's pointing up at 12 o'clock on the clock, and the other one's at about 2:30. Okay, so she has these kind of whiskery bits that come out on the side. So we're going to go out that side to a point and then into there. And we're going to do similar on this side, but it's going to be smaller. Now, the reason this one is smaller to this one is because her head is turned. So when the perspective of something that you're drawing is turned towards you or away from you, things that are closer to us would be bigger. So this area here would look bigger than this area because her head's tilted. So that's something to try and remember when you are drawing, just to make them look a little bit more realistic. Okay, so let's get an eye in now. So just underneath this ear, but quite low down, so almost as low down as the whiskery area, we're going to draw almost well, just wait until I've done it. It's a bit like a lemon, but it just cuts in. Yeah, I guess that's kind of a lemon shape, isn't it? And she's got these 2 big, huge eyelashes that come off of the edge of her eye there. And then the actual eyeball itself is a ovally shape with a pupil in the middle. Then there's like a circle or something that comes off. I guess that's the glint in the eye. So she has her mouth that comes down and around on the side there. She's got just a hint of her smile. And then her nose is a point at the top there with the circle underneath. And then the other eye, obviously this is further away from us, so it's going to look smaller than the one we just drew. And then we've got her eye on that side there. So we've got these 2 lovely long eyelashes that come out at the side. And then the rest of her head just follows that under there slightly. Now, on the top of her head, they look like feathers to me. So just watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to do some ovally type shapes. And we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. And that brings us all the way back around. And then we've just got a couple within those. So you've got the same amount, but we've kind of got some smaller feathers at the front that look like they're overlapping. So we've got that kind of shape. She's got I don't know what this is. some circular thing on her head there. Maybe like a gemstone or something like that. Okay, so she's got one hand over on this side and one on this side. Now this hand is sort of pointing out towards the camera, so it's going to be much bigger. So I'm almost going to follow this shape. I'm coming away from it, but it's the similar shape to what we drew there. Okay, so this is going to be her index finger and her thumb. There and there. So we've almost made it's like a banana-y shape, but don't fill the middle part out, because we're then going to draw the next finger, the next one, and then finally that one there. And then we can just see the palm of her hand coming into the thumb there. So she's sort of spreading her hand out. There's a frill around her wrist. That we can see with just a few details in there. And then it goes up into her arm. Now she's wearing some sort of clothing that's wrinkled, so we've got a few creases in there, which goes down into her shoulder up there. She's got very thin arms, and this is her elbow there. So there's her arm coming into her hand that's sort of coming out towards the camera or the photo or the TV screen, whatever it is we're looking at her on. She's got a necklace on. It looks like an Egyptian-y type necklace with those lines coming down. Okay. So we're just going to get a little bit of this body in. So she's got a very slender body coming down into the waist. And then she has this, looks like her bottom of her dress, like a skirt almost, with a little bit of detailing in there. And her other side of her body comes into there. It's very thin. There's a little bit of detailing along the top there. Okay, so we can now see her other arm. So we're going to come out from the body, and it's going to get slightly wider as it comes out because it's coming towards us. And we've got this frill again. So just watch where I'm going to stop, because we don't see all of it because it's obscured by her other hand. So this hand's a tricky one to draw. The fingers are pointing down, so I'm going to draw her thumb in first. So look at this shape that I'm drawing, right in the centre. And then off from that, we've got an index finger there, the next finger along under there, and then finally that one there. So our fingers are pointing down towards the ground. Okay, so right in the centre of her body, we're going to draw a line that comes down, because this actually, believe it or not, is her leg, one of her legs. She's kind of taking a step forwards with this, this leg. Her body then comes round and the other leg goes behind that. So we can actually see her second leg just coming in behind the first one. We can see this part of her cape, or whatever this is, on this side as well, which goes up into the back of her body. So we've got that taily part of her outfit. So on this foot in the front, we've got this frill again around it that we had around her wrists. So we've got some zigzaggy lines there. And then the shape of her foot, it's sort of sticking out towards us. So we're looking at this shoe front on. So we're going to draw that kind of shape. And then she's got some details over it. And we can just see the edge of the sole there. Just a few details within that. Connect her legs up so that there's not a gap. And then her second foot is at the side, so she's got like a high heel on, so we can see the side of her shoe over here, and it obviously goes behind this one. So that's sort of the side of her shoe. And then there's the frilly part on this as well, which joins up and goes sort of in front of that on that side. And then she has a tail coming out almost from the top of her dress there. Got some angles in there. There we go. A few details on the clothing. And that, I think, is Blaze the cat. So, having a look at what we did again today. So we did the police officer from The Simpsons. We did Olaf in the middle. And then we did Blaze the cat, who was quite tricky. There's lots of detail in there. So 3 good ones again. I think these 2 were our most tricky we've done. I'd like to see what you've done. So don't forget to send me your pictures over on Instagram, or get mum and dad to send them over across on Facebook. I'm enjoying doing these. We've got lots and lots now. My girls are having fun colouring them in. So if you do colour them in, I'd love to see them. And look forward to doing 3 more tomorrow. If you've got any more ideas or something you really want to draw, then let me know. Otherwise, go and enjoy the sun, and I'll see you tomorrow at 1:30. Bye.